to Speak. I'm Joy Taylor here with Super Bowl champion Keyshawn Johnson,
Yes,
NBA
that would
Finals
be me.
MVP Paul Pierce, and Fox Sports senior NBA analyst Rick Bucher. Welcome, guys.
Thank
Locked
you, Joy.
in? Locked in?
Locked in.
Oh, man. I stay locked in.
Well, the Thunder are parading through the streets of Oklahoma City
lotion,
today, celebrating their first NBA title for that city. I rode in a Heat championship parade. You guys have both been in championship parades. What do you remember from your championship parade experience? Much?
Nauseous. Like, threw up a little bit.
Oh,
Man.
You threw up?
Yeah, I did.
facts.
Yeah, you know what? It was probably the cigar.
It was the cigar.
It was the cigar.
It was my first time smoking a cigar.
Oh, no, not all that smoke. The cigar gets you every time.
Yeah, it was the cigar for sure.
Cigar gets you every time. Did you smoke a cigar, Key?
No, I didn't smoke a cigar at the parade. I drank stuff I shouldn't have been drinking. That's really no. I just wanted them anything and everything go with the drinks, right?
Whatever they was passing to
Man,
you,
whatever they was passing, you was grabbing, whether it was beer, whether it was vodka, because back then that was the thing, the vodka, then the champagnes. And you
Mixing
just
all of
started,
that.
man, what hair was this big for days?
Did y'all like parade through the city?
Yeah, well, through Bayshore, right through the ocean right there. So basically downtown for the most part. Yeah, it was crazy. It was.
Yeah, we were on Biscayne Boulevard.
Wait,
for the Heat parade.
Oh, the Heat.
Yeah, well, I worked for the Heat
No, I was thinking.
radio station.
I was just literally thinking Dolphins, so that's why.
Were you on the
Dolphins?
Yeah, that's why I was like, when you said parade, I didn't hear you say Heat. I just heard parade.
I mean, I have preserved the last Dolphins Super
Rick was at
Bowl.
the Miami Dolphins parade.
You was there in '72. You was covered in Rick.
The only undefeated
Mercury
team.
Morris, can I talk to you real quick?
What's your favorite parade that you've covered, Rick?
The Dolphins undefeated season.
I'm talking to you guys.
I'm being serious. I'm being serious. Anyway, well, enjoy Oklahoma City fans and Thunder organizations, well-deserved. They're celebrating their first NBA title in Oklahoma today. It's the first NBA championship for the franchise since 1979. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won MVP this season, but OKC, they're ahead of schedule, winning the title after starting out the season as the youngest team in the league. So, Paul, what does the Thunder's first title say about the landscape of the NBA?
Well, what the first title says to me about the NBA landscape, it tells me that the parity is finally here. It tells me that you have 7 champions in 7 seasons. I can't remember off the top of my head when the last time that's happened because I know every champion from 1977 till today. You had the Lakers dynasty, obviously, in the 80s, the Bulls in the 90s, the Spurs throughout the whole 2000s. Then you had another Lakers dynasty. I can't remember the last time you had 7 champions in 7 seasons, and this was what Adam Silver has always wanted with the new collective bargaining agreement they put in not too long ago. I'm not saying that the era of dynasties is over because I feel like in every era there's been a dynasty, and maybe some come a bit longer than the other ones because the Lakers 2000 dynasty, in between that dynasty, you didn't have one until the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors. And that might have spanned across over 10 years before the next dynasty. So there will be another dynasty. I just don't know who, and it could be OKC, but I love that they're just so much I don't know who's going to win next year because you can easily say, okay, OKC, but we saw the same thing with the Celtics this year. I love what the NBA has done with the parity and the way the players move around now, and it's great for all small market teams, and that's what's been good for the NBA. Small market teams winning.
Yeah, it says to me we've discovered a new way of playing, and we have introduced a new wave of stars to the NBA. The depth and versatility with which the Oklahoma City Thunder played, as well as the Indiana Pacers, suggests that there's a new formula, that the riding stars, getting 2 or 3 big stars and them being the central point to your team, that's not how this worked. And I actually have a full screen here of the minutes played. I felt like something has shifted. For me, it's the fact that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams as the number 1 and number 2 players on this team, played the fewest minutes that any top two players on any of the last 5 championship teams have played. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander played the most minutes. He played fewer minutes than the second most used player on any of the previous championship teams. It gives you a sense of, if you're going to stay healthy, if you're going to play at the pace that the game is now played, that you have to be able to play 9, 10 people, and you have to be able to put out a second team out there that can function on its own. And I think that we saw that there was, whether it's Alex Caruso or it was TJ McConnell, like the second units need to be able to perform at a fairly high level if you're going to hope to compete for a title. So to me, that's what we've seen, is that we're turning a page when it comes to the NBA.
It's really like Paul was saying about the parity, right, in the NBA as right now, because what do we have over the last 5 champions? And I don't know how we judge small market. What does that mean? Is it the television? What is it? Is it just the city? Because
the small market is the size of the city, which is also reflected in the television market.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
Because even when I won the Super Bowl, they considered Tampa Bay a small market. But from a television standpoint, we were the 7th rated city in terms of television. So that's why I'm like, I don't know what that means. But beside the point that I think, you know, when you look at the parity in the NBA, where you now have Denver that just won recently, Milwaukee before that, and you start looking at now where OKC is at, you have to think from a long-term standpoint, they're in really good shape because of the youth. Because they're young, they're not going to be moving on from players anytime soon. They're going to continue to just kind of grow together. Well, now you say to yourself, this will be probably the first team that has a real opportunity to become, like Paul was saying, a dynasty. Whether it wins, you know, next year, don't win, then win the following year, or win 3 NBA titles in the next 5 years. That's the way this organization and team is looking right now, with all the assets that they have from a draft pick standpoint. And this may honestly be the first small market team, when it comes free agency, that somebody would want to look at because of the youth on the team and say, I want to join that team. I want to go to this market, even though Paul says there's nothing to do there.
I mean, I never left the hotel.
So Paul, would you consider looking at this Oklahoma City team? Would you be able to get over the fact that there's nothing to do there and say, I'd want to play for that team if you were a free agent?
Yeah, I mean, I look at the culture, I see who's on the team. You know, like, I think it depends on, like, where you at in your career. Like, if I'm trying to prove myself still and make a name, probably not. If I'm a OG veteran and, you know, I got kids and stuff like that, and I'm like, all right, I can come. I'm settled. It makes more sense. But the one formula that hasn't changed.
Would you go if you're chasing the ring, though?
If I'm chasing the ring? Like, what, I'm in my, 16th year and I ain't won one yet?
I mean, if you're in your 16th year, well, you probably go be at the back of the bench.
Yeah. Yeah, but listen, but this is the one thing, too. I was just thinking about this. The one formula hasn't changed, the champion. Even though there's 7 different champions, every champion has featured a top 5 player. So if you don't have a top 5 player, you can't win a title.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I don't think it says anything to me. I mean, they were one of the teams favored to win at the beginning of the season. We even picked Shai to win the MVP. He was one of the favorites to win the MVP before the season. They had the best regular season record going into the playoffs. I mean, they're a young team with the league MVP on it that then went on to win Western Conference Finals MVP, had the regular season scoring title, and won Finals MVP. It's actually makes perfect sense that Oklahoma City won. And while they are a young team and are a deep team, I think we can look back at other organizations who have won championships over the years who maybe were not as young as Oklahoma City, but certainly were deep and well-coached and had a good culture.
But I think that's where the shift is that experience, playoff experience, and veterans that have been there before have always been part of the formula on some level. I mean, with the Boston Celtics even, you go get a Jrue Holiday who's been there, right? They didn't really have that. I mean, Alex Caruso, sure, he won a ring in the bubble. I don't know if that really applies.
That's
Understood.
the main ingredient.
I'm not dismissing
That's
that.
the roux and gumbo, the top 5 player.
Yeah, and when I look back at just over the last 7 years, I mean, it's been 7 years. So you know what I mean? Like it was 6 years before that. That's still a significant amount of time for there to be a different winner every single year.
Sure.
So the youth to me is an interesting element of this. To me, it would have meant much more if the Pacers would have ended up winning because they wouldn't have had a top 5 player.
That's why I would have shook the NBA.
Yeah, their leader was not an all-star this year. Like that to me would have been a much more impactful shifting when it comes to the impact that this title had on the NBA.
Yeah. But
the youth to me is the only thing that sticks out to them. Like the Thunder, and this is no shade to the Thunder, it makes sense that the Thunder won. The Thunder were favored. The Thunder had a really good run. They had a great regular season. They had the regular season MVP. They have a really deep team. Like, it makes sense. They won. It makes sense. That's what those teams are supposed to do.
But I do think you're going to see teams look, and this always happens, it's a copycat league. Anytime somebody wins the championship, people are going to look at how they were built, what they're made of, what their formula was for winning, and they copy that. And I think that you're going to see teams spreading the wealth and looking to build teams that aren't necessarily top-heavy. Yes, they were fortunate enough to have SGA, but they're not really paying SGA top dollar. They're not paying Jalen Williams top dollar. Like, they're able to spend money to go get Isaiah Hartenstein. And that depth and versatility, to me, is a little bit different than in the previous years where it was like you had your 5, you had like a 7-man rotation. This really was about 9, 10 guys contributing. I see that as a different thing.
I don't think you need 9 or 10 guys, though. Just because this is what this final show, that's what this final show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Last year, you had the Boston Celtics, which were probably like 7 deep. Like, legitimately.
They were pretty close.
Like 7 deep. They weren't 8 or 9 deep. Because when I look at 8 or 9 deep, you got 4 guys on the bench that could possibly be starters.
Yeah.
That are legit starters. That's when you really a deep team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I still think the formula is a top 5 player and getting the necessary pieces around that top 5 player. Because look at the 7 champions, and I don't have them all around in front of me right now, but each one of them has featured a top 5 player. Shai, MVP was
Tatum.
Tatum, was he a top first team All-NBA?
Yeah, I mean, he's top 5.
Jokic.
Joker, Steph at the time in 2022, Giannis, LeBron in 2020, Kawhi. Like, you have to have that one player. Once you have that player, everything else can fall into play. Whether you have 9 deep, 7 deep, that's the one ingredient. And you have to have that player that can, if he's not that already, maybe that's somebody that turns into that like Shai did.
Yeah, it's your formula sounds pretty legit, I would say. You know? And maybe that in an all-star, and a potential all-star.
Well, the depth will be important because you're not building these quote-unquote super teams anymore.
Yeah.
Where I will say, I don't know how copycat ready the Oklahoma City Thunder are to the rest of the league is you got to have an excellent GM.
For sure.
You have to develop players very well.
For sure.
You have to play the long game. And not every organization is that patient.
That's also true.
Not every organization is that talented at the executive level. And we don't like to talk about that because there's nothing that is sexy about that. But those suits matter. And when you're looking at organizations that are habitually good and who have those kind of meteoric rises, they tend to have people that know what they're doing in the front office who can identify players that other people have either overlooked or that they are specifically targeting to fit what it is that they do based off of the system that they run and the players that they have at the top level.
Yeah, it also helps when you're in Oklahoma City. You're not under the same microscope as New York or LA, where the expectations from the fans are we good enough? Do we have the stars? Do we have like all the things that you need to sell? You can bake it a little slower in Oklahoma City.
But see, I don't think, but I don't think that really matters. Now that I'm thinking about what Paul is saying, I don't really think it matters that you're in Oklahoma City versus New York. If New York had a top 5 player.
Well, we're talking about the patience to develop players
roster.
and the roster.
Yeah, I guess that makes you right there. that will make you right.
Thank you, Keith.
Oh, they had no choice. What else did they have?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
What else did they have?
And you had no other choice but to say that.
No, but again, it goes back to do I want to in free agency go play for OKC? or in a trade, do I want to go play for them? They lucked up and got Shai. No, lucked up. They got Shai because the Clippers was stupid.
I'm not saying lucked up.
But that was the Clippers didn't see what they had. So that's,
Shai wasn't projected to be this.
No,
so they lucked up.
You know what I'm saying?
They just lucked up and got this because if Shai was a free agent, he wasn't going to OKC.
Yeah, but that's I just don't like the word luck because they got him, but also
in other words, you're smart.
Well, they have a great GM over there.
Yeah, they have a great GM and they developed him.
I understand it, but they saw where the other organization.
Right, but even seeing that a player has the ability to develop into this is a skill.
No,
and those GMs are not, they're not just out here.
Yeah.
So they deserve the credit to build a team like this. Like, that's hard to do. It's something that the Celtics do very well. It's something that the Heat do well.
Yeah.
It's something that Golden State doesn't get credit for, but they do very well.
Yep. Yeah, but it even though he was with the Clippers for 2 seasons or whatever the case is, it just feels like he's OKC's homegrown.
Yeah.
Just like all the rest of those guys.
No, they developed him. They developed him. And they brought in Chris Paul to help that development. I mean, they did so many things.
Right.
And building a team around him. And that's where I would yes, he's the MVP and deserves all the flowers that he gets. But he's still so brand new to this. The idea that, I think of some of the other star players, even like a Nikola Jokic, he had already grown into being a great player. We're seeing, it feels like Shai, while being NBA first team for the 3rd year in a row, really took a huge step this year. Went from being a guy leading a team to the 2nd round to being league MVP and winning a championship.
But how is that any different than Joker?
That's a huge jump.
But how is that any different than Joker?
Because Joker was already an MVP prior to winning a championship.
Yeah, but Joker grew into Joker. He wasn't.
That's what I said. How is it any different?
The same with Giannis. It's the same with Shai. How they became who they were. It's about draft. Right now, it's about drafting well.
But there wasn't this 1 year leap with Shai.
For Joker, it was a 1 year. He's just I was like, he's that good. Then all of a sudden, he's the best player in the league. It was like that for me and Joker. Same thing with Giannis. I was like, because when I was in the league, when I was playing against Giannis, and just to see him grow, I was like, he done got stronger, fast, he's jumping hard. Now, this dude right here.
Well, they're coming into the league extremely young. Their bodies are legitimately changing.
But they're all.
I'm just trying to think. Giannis
was.
No, when did you play against Giannis?
When I was in the. I remember my first memory when I was in Washington. He was in the Bucs.
So long ago.
Shai joined Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the only player to win an MVP scoring title and a Finals MVP by the age of 26. So he's got the accolades, and he's likely to get the cash this offseason with a 4-year, nearly $240 million contract looming this offseason. Thunder teammate Alex Caruso talked about the face of the league being in SGA's future. Let's take a listen.
Comparing to LeBron is a crazy start just because LeBron was anointed at 18 years old and surpassed everything that has ever been put in front of him. But as far as, face of the league and best player on best team, he's got that capability. I mean, clearly the year he's had, MVP, Western Conference Finals MVP, champion. I don't think anybody in here would question his ability, and I think the thing that sets him apart is he'll probably be hungry for more.
So, Rick, has Shai become the face of the league?
I'd say he has, by default. Simply because I look at where we are right now and the year that he had. Who else would I look to? Unless you're going to say there is no face of the league, that we're just faceless right now.
No, the face of the league is still LeBron.
1,000%.
It's still LeBron James.
No. It's still LeBron
That is
James.
so.
If LeBron James walks down the street.
We've turned
LeBron James walks down the street, drops his phone, his phone break. We're gonna talk about it tomorrow. We're not doing that with Shai.
That's fine. That's because he's polarizing. That's
all
not because
right.
he's the face of the
Is he
league.
polar? Every face of the league is polarizing.
The NBA is in sad shape if LeBron James is still the face of the league.
They're sad shape because he is the face
not
of the league.
in bad shape.
He is the face of the NBA.
No, he's not. No, he's not. When I close my eyes right now and I think about the NBA,
you think LeBron James?
No, I think of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think
he
of
just happened last
night. Think of the guy who just completed the best. The guy who just had the best.
His face is directly behind you.
Yeah, that's right there.
That may be part of it. The best, I don't think of that face.
No, it's the one that behind you the other way.
Yeah, that face. He just completed the best record, the best season, accomplishment-wise, that any player has had since Michael Jordan.
I get it. We understand.
Michael
He
Jeffrey
could walk down New York Times Square.
Man,
and there's gonna be some people that won't recognize
No,
him.
Why
that's
would
not
you
true.
do that?
That is not
Why
true.
are you stealing
That
my
is not
stuff?
true. That is not true.
If LeBron James walked down,
I was literally about to say, but I don't have it written down, but I was literally about to say, Rick. I was literally about to say, though.
that man can walk in Neiman Marcus and not
If
get
LeBron
recognized.
James was in a restaurant, everybody in the restaurant gonna stop. The chefs, the cooks, they all, the waiters, the waitresses, the busboy, they gonna stop. If Shai walked in there,
They would do the same
everybody
thing.
go, this guy's really
No,
tall.
you know what? They would.
That's what they
that,
gonna do.
That doesn't reflect that. If Michael Jordan did it, they would
gonna
do the
stop.
same thing. That's right.
Everybody
that
gonna
doesn't
stop.
mean that Michael Jordan is the face of the NBA.
Yes, he does.
No,
Because he was.
He was.
Because he was.
Oh my
All
God.
right, hold on. Tell me
tripping.
this. Tell me this. All right, one question, Rick. What face of the league they wouldn't do that for? Name one.
Steph Curry?
Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I mean, they gonna stop. They gonna ask him.
No, they
Mr.
would do
Curry,
that. They would do that.
Do you
for
want to
Steph.
come help us?
I'm saying Shai doesn't have that presence yet.
No, he
Every
doesn't.
face of the league has that presence.
Steph Curry.
Kobe, Jordan, Shaq, Magic Johnson. Like, they all were polarizing figures when they walked into the building. The room just stopped. You looked up and was like,
If Shai Gilgeous-Alexander walked into a restaurant right now, people would know who he
If you
was.
walk up, if Jordan walked in right now for me, and I'd be like, and I've never seen Jordan before, I'd be like, is that Jordan? I'm gonna stop. Like, I'm
There
not gonna.
is- there
I'm
is
gonna
a
be
black
sitting here on
Jesus.
TV, and I'm gonna forget I'm on TV, looking like, is that Jordan? Like, if Shai walk in, I'm gonna be like, okay, there goes Shai. Okay, you guys, you know,
Yeah,
it
that
ain't no,
guy's-
it
that
ain't
guy's
no, it ain't no shade at him. But I'm just saying, there's levels to this.
There are so many guys that would
No,
occur
it's
with.
not.
Well, who? No, it ain't. I can name them all.
So can I, and I didn't play in the NBA.
I can name them all. Like, who's the most polarizing figure in the league? Steph,
No, Steph's not.
KD.
LeBron James.
KD.
KD.
KD. Okay. KD's not.
Shai can still blend in some places.
But
A
you're,
lot of places.
You're
That's
saying
what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's fresh in your mind. You just watched him win.
He has to grow into
He
that.
has to grow into
right.
it. He first of all, his personality. Okay, all
we
that.
have a brand new NBA. We have a new wave of stars. To suggest that somehow because we've known Steph and LeBron and Michael and Kobe and all these guys for years and years and years, that you have to be that before you're the face of the NBA.
What's his
It's
jersey
what
sales?
the
What's his
NBA
jersey
is
sales
right
looking like?
now.
What's his jersey sales
It's true
looking
though.
like?
They up right now because they won.
But the face of the league on at some point.
Probably
lead the
not better
league.
than Sophie Cunningham's. So is she the face of the WNBA? I mean,
Listen. He's not the face of the league.
He's not.
He's not the face of the league. He is the best player in the league right now.
Yes, he's the best player.
And the title and the MVP help. But to be the face of the league, you either have to be naturally polarizing and anointed in the way that LeBron was, or Jordan, or Magic, and then you have to go and win. We were not talking about Shai when he came into the league as being the future of the NBA.
agreed. We weren't
The
talking
team
about that
that
with
had
Steph
him-
either.
Right, but you can grow into that. The polarizing part is important. When we're talking about who the face of a league,
He has to be controversial.
no, polarizing is different than controversial.
Love or hate him. People love or hate Shai.
Who hates Shai?
Oh, people hate him as a foul merchant. Are you kidding me? There's a bunch of people that think he's not, that he doesn't deserve all that he's received.
Yeah,
Who's a
I
bunch?
don't know. Yeah, I don't know those people.
Well, there are people out there, trust me.
If you told me KD, then I bet yeah. it's
You've
a
never
bunch of
heard him
people.
called the foul merchant?
I've
You've
never heard it.
You've never heard him denigrated as a foul merchant.
I've heard that.
The face of the league requires crossover appeal outside of the NBA.
1,000%. Walk into a restaurant, everybody's going to stop. Or they're going to say he's
face
really
is-
tall.
Really?
Listen,
Does?
Yes.
So
and,
Shai-
and
Shai-
perhaps we're moving towards a league that isn't going to have a face, and part of that is the parity And we'll see if that actually benefits the NBA long term. Because as we know, the last 7 champions have all been from different teams. We have moved away, at least in the last 7 years, from dynasties, from the people having a villain, someone to root against, right? That's hard to do when there's a different champion every single year. It's hard to find people to hate. So we're moving away from this. We're talking about this as an energy around the league. There's not as much animosity. Everybody's friends. Rivalries are dying. Yeah. Fans aren't really fans of teams anymore. They're more fans of players. So that makes it difficult to manufacture this conversation. When we're talking about the finals itself, right?
Yeah.
Which did a great rating. Right? It was 2 small market teams without controversial players in it or polarizing players in it, and no old guard, no OGs whatsoever. I know that's not what OG stands for, but I'm saying. Okay, like none of them at all, right? No LeBron, no KD, no Steph. This may be what NBA fans are looking for now. But to say that he's the face of the league, well, then last year it was Jalen. It was Jason Tatum, and then the year before that it was
Jason
Jokic.
Tatum didn't even have anything close to the kind of career that the kind of season that Shai had.
Yeah, but it's not all based on the season.
Yeah, the face of the league is not just the statistics.
That's what I was going to say, because here's what I'm going to say to you, Rick, and you'll get up and leave on this one. Let Ant-Man win a championship next year. Just let him win a championship.
Yeah.
He's going to leapfrog, in people's opinion, Shai, of the face of the league. You watch.
Bye-bye, Rick.
Bye-bye.
No, I mean,
so if I hear you correctly,
fact.
Joy.
That's 100% fact.
Yes.
Let him win a championship next year.
He's more notable than
Yeah,
Shai.
I don't think we have to worry about that.
Oh, you don't have to worry about
You're
that.
saying
You're all right.
so the description you gave me was that Shai is reflective of the league that we're looking at now.
I don't think the league. If you're not going to say that LeBron James is the face of the league, which I feel like he is, but if we're going to say that LeBron James is no longer the face of the league, there is no face of the league.
Let me ask you this.
And I said from the very beginning that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the face of the league by default.
No,
If
listen,
I walk outside,
If anybody is the face
if
of
I
the league
walk
right now,
outside
it's Shai
Pico
Gilgeous-Alexander.
Boulevard and stop someone on the street and ask them to name me an NBA player,
They're gonna say LeBron
they will
James.
never. If I give them,
No, name them
if I give them
players
50
before they get to
chances,
Shai.
they're not saying Shai.
say 7 players.
7 players before they get to Shai.
Like, stop saying it's not LeBron, because was Jordan the face when he came back in Washington?
Absolutely.
Was he?
1,000%.
Yeah, he was still the face. When Jordan came back, immediately back to the face of the league. On the Wizards.
Yeah,
So
on
to
the
say
Wizards.
LeBron, even though at an
That's
older
why Paul
age,
wanted to go to the Wizards.
I mean, it's not even shade. The face of the league is a transcendent superstar.
1,000%.
That is in every single commercial, that is in every single show, that is in movies, that is popping up and play. It has lotions, it's infinite.
Yeah,
like the
and look.
limit does not exist for the face of the league.
the next potential face of the league.
I think you guys are talking about
It's all part of it.
historically
It's all part of it.
transcendent players, and there's a handful of them.
yeah.
And I don't know that.
But all those
I don't know how
guys-
many can ever ascend to that. And
but-
they will always be connected to the NBA, and they will always be a face or a person that a majority of mainstream people,
But that's
or people
what we're
who
saying,
aren't
though,
basketball
Rick.
fans,
That's what
will
we're saying.
think of with the NBA. But then you're
not-
if you're using that definition, then you're just saying that there's a multitude of faces of the NBA because they've established themselves and their connection on a wider plane. And I'm looking at the NBA as it is right now.
He's not
And
there
those
yet, man.
and those who are in it.
He's not there yet. He's still young. He needs to win more. He needs to do this again and again. And his market doesn't necessarily help him either. Personality-wise, we just talked about him yesterday, about just the way he celebrated. It's just his
unreal.
personality.
You know, it just doesn't seem real. It was just like, it's all just happening right now.
Why you change your voice?
No, that's like
But you have to have a personality. Joy is right. It's commercials. All of those things are part of it.
I'll tell you who the next face of the league is. The next face of the league is going to be Wembanyama, because he's going to check all those boxes.
And if he gets a championship, yeah.
Even before, he don't even have to get a championship. He's just on his way to that, because Jordan was the face before he won. LeBron was the face before he won.
Yeah, but Jordan just has such a
You know,
cool
it's just
factor.
that Magic came in and won right away. Bird won right away. But Jordan was when Jordan came out with the Jordans in the dunk contest, once he won the dunk contest, he was the face. You know, he didn't win no championships yet.
No, but
there's different ways to get there.
But the dunk contest was just so, you know, all that. It was
Like,
just
once
crazy.
he went to the free throw line, it was over.
Yeah, he's just a
Like, Wemby is going to do something like it's going to be over because the stuff we're going to see him do out there is going to be so incredible. 10 blocks, 10 assists, 10 rebounds, 10 points, 10 steals.
Cool factor
He's going to do
does
something
matter.
crazy.
If they go back to back, or they become the next dynasty in the next 3 to 4 years, 100% he will be, because he will have been in our faces at the height when the most amount of casual fans are watching, which is the NBA Finals, and we will be seeing him at his height. But if that doesn't happen, which for the past 7 years it hasn't, we're not just going to keep moving this assignment to the next person that has a great season every year. Maybe there isn't a face of the league anymore because that's what the NBA has strategically designed. But yeah, I mean, until I can argue with someone on the street about anything that has to do with Shai, I don't think that he's there yet.
Argue on the street, huh?
He's my face.
You just want to walk into a Starbucks and be like, hey.
I mean, I'm just like walking to a Starbucks, like, hey,
well,
everybody, I'll give you
that's a good
$5 if you name an NBA
That's a
player
good
right
one.
now.
He's your face.
He's my face of the NBA.
It's okay. You lose again.
You got the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander shoes yet?
No, they're on order.
Yeah, all right. How much they cost?
They gotta make them first.
Parade prep wasn't the only thing happening in the NBA yesterday. Paul's Celtics made a move that reportedly sends Jrue Holiday to Portland for Anthony Simons and 2 second-round picks. In 2024, Holiday helped bring Boston its first title since Paul, KG, and Ray Allen in 2008. Simon's scoring dropped down to 19 points a game in 2025 after averaging 20-plus the previous 2 seasons with the Blazers. So, Paul, do you like this trade for your Celtics?
People are going to look at this trade and say, hey, they got younger, they got some draft picks, they got a guy that averaged 19. But I don't look at it like that. I look at it that we lost a lot in this trade. We lost a champion. We lost a leader in the locker room. We lost a part of the culture and the DNA that he brought to the Celtics that was valuable. But I understand the trade. You know, Jrue has a couple more years left on his contract at a steep price for his production. Anthony has 1 year left. So to me, this wasn't a move to try to help the Celtics for next year and get better and possibly win a championship. This was a business move. So if you look at it as a business move, it probably was a good move, but me just not having Jrue there for the Celtics and what he brought to the team, I didn't like this trade.
What do you think of it, Rick?
I like it for all the reasons that you said, and you're right. It is part business, but the reality is they were facing a very steep price when it comes to the salary cap and the tax that they're paying. They had to move some pieces, and it gives them the liberty of making a decision on Anthony when the time comes. And I would say the Portland Trailblazers probably made this move in part because they didn't want to have to pay him the max or some big number based on what they've seen. I also do think that he helps them in the short term with Jason Tatum out because he can score the basketball, and you do need some help on that front. You're going to miss Jrue, but I felt like we saw the expiration date in the way things went with him in the postseason, and you have Derek White, so you do still have a point guard. Anthony's not that. So overall, I get it. Sometimes you have to make tough decisions, and to get a young player with this kind of contract and this kind of flexibility, all in all, I look at it as a move that had to be made, and they made the best move possible.
Yeah, I like it. I think when you get younger, first of all, you're getting younger. So that helps, and Tatum's gone for at least a year for you. So now, like Rick was saying, you kind of, it softens that blow a little bit, but when he comes back, now you can integrate him in the situation with, how you say his name? Not Anthony. Anthony. I always want to say Anthony. But Anthony, you get to integrate him into the equation with him, and he can score. I mean, he averaged 19 points last year. The year before, he was around just slightly above, right around 20-ish or so. So you know what you're getting there. And they still got Derek White from a defensive standpoint when they need to match up. The only thing I think, though, they have both of those guys, Derek White and Jrue Holiday, they can now pick and choose if a team had 2 scorers that they needed to defend. Now you just really got Derek White for the most part because Jaylen Brown's going to be on whoever he's on. And now you have to kind of find that little bit of replacement on the defensive side for where Jrue Holiday would make up the difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty predictable that they were going to do something with Jrue. I mean, he's set to make $32 million next season. He's going to be 35. So they got a player that's essentially 10 years younger, much more affordable, and it has 1 year left on his deal. So it looks like a business move. But from a defensive standpoint, it's not great. From a leadership standpoint, it's not great. But next year is kind of, I don't want to say a wash for the Celtics, but the expectations for the Celtics are not what they would normally be because Tatum is expected to be out for most of the season.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to start making moves now to prepare for when Tatum is back a year from now.
Right.
To be able to compete then. And at that point, Jrue will be 37, and you're talking about a completely different move to move off of him.
That's a good point, is that a year from now, I don't know that you get this same return.
Right.
Right? So you have this opportunity. You got to strike while it's hot because it just gives you flexibility.
Parents should just name him Anthony. It'd be much easier for me.
Well,
Coming up, we've got some big news about how many more years Aaron Rodgers is going to play. We'll speak about it next on Speak. And don't forget, you can check us out every day on the Fox Sports channel on Sirius XM.
I didn't even know what to say to that.
Tyreek Hill has been facing the Bills defense twice a year in the AFC East since joining the Dolphins in 2022. And all those meetings, he started to feel a certain way about their defensive scheme. Speak up, Tyreek.
Everybody know me as a speed guy, but I feel like film preparation is important. Knowing exactly who you're going against and, you know, the type of defensive coordinator you're going against. So, you know, every D coordinator is different. You know, whenever we play against the Bills, those guys, you know, typically play cover 4 because they're a bunch of but besides that, yeah, like they don't play man-to-man, you know. So
They won't.
They won't. But teams typically play us cover 4, cover 2. You know, we rarely see man-to-man. So if you know that, then you typically know exactly what you're going to get in that game.
A little extra bad blood for the Bills-Dolphins matchups this year. Key, was there a team you felt this way about?
Which part?
Why they just
That they were.
Which part?
What you said,
Which part could it be?
No, because he said they're a bunch of bloopy bloops.
Yeah, that part.
No, I mean, not really. Maybe the Dolphins, I guess. You know, the Dolphins when your brother was playing.
Here you go.
They kind of got on my nerves a little bit.
They bothered you
can
because of
never
the
have
way
a
they
serious
All they did
defended
was,
you?
Yeah, because all they would do was grab and hold for dear life. They would just grab and hold. That was just part of their technique. You
Okay.
know? So that was really it.
You put that in the same category as cover 4?
Well, cover four, they played a lot of man-to-man at the time.
Yeah.
In
So he's
Miami.
saying that the Bills don't play man-to-man.
Well, that's their scheme, their zone. They don't like that. That's not what they want to play. They want to run zone. What they supposed to do something out of nowhere because Tyreek Hill wants
Right,
to
but
play
isn't he
man-to-man?
saying that they're a bunch of
Yeah.
They can't
They're
play
they're a bunch
man-to-man.
of-
Yeah.
because
They
they're
can't
not playing
play it.
man-to-man?
But
They can't play it. So
Okay. Would you get upset if
No.
an
I'm
opposing
not-
team
I'm
played
not
a
gonna
certain
get-
way because it was the best way to play you?
no, I'm not going to get upset at that. I played against my own Tampa Bay Buccaneers before I joined there, and they was completely cover 2 zone. They wouldn't dare line up in man. We would die to catch them in man-to-man. They wasn't doing it, and we knew that. You know, you just know. It's a division thing. Miami versus Buffalo, and it's that whole deal. Why the hell would I want to line up man-to-man against Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, I understood.
You get ready to just. You want to lose the game? like, come on, seriously.
No, this is-
only dumb coaches do dumb things, and clearly Buffalo's not dumb. Now Buffalo probably does play some man-to-man against certain opponents.
Sure.
Like if they see a certain team, like the New England Patriots, they look at them receivers and go, "Yeah, we can play them man-to-man. They don't have any threats."
Was there a team that you felt they were a bunch of bleeps?
Yeah. Man, I told you I wasn't gonna troll them no more this year.
The Knicks.
I ain't saying it, y'all. He said it.
Okay.
I ain't saying it.
But why?
Just saying though, you know.
Isn't the way?
I'm just saying.
But I expected, like he said, though, the film study and everything in preparation gonna tell you the way a team is gonna prepare.
Sure,
For it.
but
And
this
that's
is-
what you should be doing.
Him talking about this gives me Devin Booker. You shouldn't double team during the in summer
Lord, the
workouts
summer
vibe.
workout.
Like it's
right.
like, what?
That's
like,
a respect thing, though. That's what you gotta understand. It's a respect thing. Like I
What?
don't like Tyreek. Like the reason they play him that way, they
yes.
respect you.
Yes.
The reason Devin gets
He will
double
run by them.
Yes. But as the player, are you going to complain about that?
No, I'm
Because
not complaining
it's a
about
sign
that.
of respect.
Yeah, I'm not
Well,
complaining about that.
he probably, and I probably should have looked up his numbers against the Bills. He probably doesn't play all that well against them because of the zone coverage and the
But
things.
that's not
that
the
they
It's
do.
also
only
because
team
of
that does
Tua.
that.
Well,
Like you're going
no, it may
to
necessarily-
test Tua's ability to read zone.
Yeah,
You're gonna test
you
that.
can, and a quarterback that doesn't understand zone could get your head knocked off quick,
Yeah.
fast, in a hurry. Been there, done that.
Well, Aaron Rodgers made his weekly appearance on the Pat McAfee show earlier today while talking about the future. Rodgers said this will likely be his final year, and that's why he signed only a one-year deal with Pittsburgh. Oh, that's why.
Who you was gonna say that? That's what I was thinking, the same thing, but you said it.
Did I say that out loud? Are you buying that this is Aaron Rodgers' last season?
Yes, but if he takes him to the AFC Championship games, I said before, they'll bring him back. They have to.
I mean, I think they should if he makes it to the
That's what I'm
AFC
saying.
Championship game.
But they're probably not going to make it. So most likely, it's a 95% chance that he's not coming back to the NFL after this season. This is the rocking chair year for him.
Rick?
If you give me $25 million, I probably won't be doing the show anymore. But what are the chances that that's going to
Rude.
Sorry, you would make the
Joy,
same
like,
choice.
nope, me too.
Exactly.
Dinner's on me.
1, 2. It's 1,000%. But what I love is Aaron's making it sound like it was his choice.
On the one-year deal.
Yeah, the one-year deal, and because I'm going to retire. Aaron didn't come into the offseason looking at the market like it was going to end up being the Steelers or nothing. And he knows that. And he's a placeholder for the Steelers at this point. They need to get through this season. So he realizes what the market is going to be, which is there is going to be no market after this year. So let's just go ahead and let's paint it like I made this decision. It's 1 year. I'm going to go out. Congratulations.
But you should've just said,
but
just say, this is my last year. I'm going to make the best of it, and I'm going to try to get to a championship with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then after that, I'm going to go and live my life. Just say that instead of the pretty sure. So he kind of left it open rather than close the door
Where's
just
the fun
in case.
in that, Keyshawn?
yeah.
Well, I mean, you know.
Yeah, this is it for him. Like once you
This
start
is it.
talking like this, you know how that is, Keith.
Stop always
know how
referring to
this-
me. Every time Paul do that, he look at me and go, you know how it is, Keith.
Because you remember the end of the road. You remember how it is?
Yeah.
Like when you start saying, I'm pretty sure this it, that
Yeah.
creeps in your head, that means you got 1 foot out the door.
Yeah.
Regardless if he goes to the NFC Championship game or
AFC.
AFC Championship game or win a Super Bowl. I mean, especially if he win a Super Bowl, it's over.
Oh, yeah, if he win the Super Bowl, it's over.
But even if he goes to the championship game, the AFC Championship game, I still believe this is it. Like, because the motivation is just not there when you start talking like this.
1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah, you like, man, you
Retired already, just didn't announce it yet.
Yeah, like I'm just like, I'm gonna take this. They want to give me what? I might as well take that on the way out.
Was the year before you guys retired, the summer before, was that distinctly different from any other summer? Mentally, when you went in, like you approached it, did you know this is it? And it felt different than any previous summer? Or were you already like, was there any year before that where you're like, I don't know?
I'm gonna say this: after my first year with the Clippers, I was like about to retire. Then I was like, it was September. I ain't even worked out all summer. I'm like, I'm retiring. You know what? It's September. Training camp in a month. I was like, you know what? That is a little free little 5-piece. Let me go ahead and get that. I might as well go and work out every day. stay in shape and take that, sit on the bench. And I was last minute with it. Like, you know what? Because I was like, I want to move upstairs. The Clippers gave me an offer to be assistant general manager, right? So they was like, yeah, we'll give you, $250,000. You know what? I'll come sit on the bench. I'll come sit on the bench for 5.
Oh my God.
I was like, yeah, all right.
No, I had originally, when I first came into the league, I said I only wanted to play 10 years. And that 11th year when I left the Cowboys really became a year-to-year because of my offensive coordinator with Carolina. And he was there. That was my coordinator with the Jets, and he became the coordinator, and they had just lost to Seattle in the NFC Championship game. And they bottled up Smitty. They doubled him, beat him up, 2 people all the time. I said, I can go over there for sure and be Robin and Hyde and help them get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, I'm like, man, I don't want to do this no more. I just don't, this here, playing football, I want to go do something different. So, I had already kind of had the one, like Paul said, my 1 foot in and my arm kind of holding the door open with my other foot slightly kicked to just gauge whether or not I wanted to continue to keep doing it. But once I made my mind up, it was over. It was a wrap.
Yeah, this is his last year. He's on a 1-year deal and he won 5 games last year. He's going to be 42 in December.
Whether he wants it to be or not, it's his last year.
I mean,
Unless
I
he
agree,
goes
I
to the
agree with
AFC
Key. Like,
Championship
if he goes to the AFC Championship and has that type of season, I could see the Steelers wanting to bring him back for another year.
Yeah.
But personally, I would walk away. I would want to leave on that type of high, especially after what happened with the Jets and how things ended with Green Bay.
That's a good point.
How Green Bay looks now. Like, that's how I would want to leave it, but we'll see how it plays out. Coming up, the pressure's on Tua to deliver on his huge contract in Miami. Terron Armstead is here to tell you if his former teammates will get the Dolphins back to the playoffs next season. That's next on Speak. Time to check in on our social life. After Joe Burrow's bad pitching video went viral, 5-time Pro Bowl offensive lineman
no, that ain't you right there.
Armstead gave his own attempts earlier today.
Nah, hold on. Hey, I can't show mine no more.
How would you grade your throw? Was that with MJ?
That was bad.
That was a curve. Just tell him it was a curve. That was a curve.
Let's see the video one more time.
That's a curve.
I was reading the prompter. I didn't really get a good.
It wasn't good.
It was a good curveball. Look, here we go.
Okay, wait.
Curve. That's a curve. He got to catch that.
You got to catch.
He got to catch that. Lean over and catch. Who the catcher? That's a curve.
It looks like it might have been a slider too.
That was a slider.
Worst part about it is I used to pitch.
Oh, no. Look, that was a curve. He got to get to
Worst
that.
part about it.
Huh?
I was a pitcher.
Look.
Okay, here's calls.
Man, come on. Oh, look, slider. Slider. Boom. Right in, right down the middle. Right down the middle.
Definitely swing. That's for sure.
It's crazy.
Right down the middle. They might chase that pitch.
They might chase that
Hey,
pitch.
no, look, man, I'm telling you, because I've never been on.
How's he gonna change?
No, but look, I play on wood floors. I went on the baseball field, and I was like, damn, it's a hill. When they pitch off the hill.
Yeah, the mound.
I know, but I didn't know. I thought it was even.
But you
I thought
wasn't
it
even
was
on the mound, though. You was
Yeah,
on the
I
front
was.
edge of the mound.
But I didn't know. I thought it was an even. You really got to throw down.
Yeah.
Man, I was like, that's crazy. I thought it was even. Man, that mountain is so big.
You thought you was at Little
That
League
mountain,
Park or something?
hey, that mountain, you standing up, you like, you don't know if you, man, that's tough. Baseball
We gotta
tough.
find Key's pitch.
Yeah, we'll get it hooked up. We'll get it hooked up while I go to Dodger Stadium and
You gonna do it again?
yeah, I'll do it again. Yeah, we're gonna hook it up.
You gonna throw a pitch?
Yeah, 1,000%.
Right.
They might try to sign me.
Nah, you ain't like that.
I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna leave it alone, man. You know I ain't gonna lie to you.
All right.
I gotta see this.
What's up, Big
think-
T? How you doing, man?
Oh, well.
Yes, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Sticking with your recent team, the Dolphins missed the playoffs but made it the previous 2 years before. Earlier this month, Tua said he's optimistic about the upcoming season because he feels like there has been a culture shift. So, Terron, we'll start with you. Are the Dolphins a playoff team?
I believe so, Joy. I do. If healthy, and I know that's the big question mark, the availability of Tua. Tua's under center every game. There's not a team that the Dolphins can't beat. And not just Tua, you know, having him, he definitely changes the face of the franchise. But I think defensively, getting Bradley Chubb back healthy and Jalen Phillips back healthy with the emergence of Chop Robinson, I strongly believe the Dolphins is a playoff team.
They had a lot of health issues, particularly on defense, like you mentioned. Oh, you saw him playing win-loss? This is Keith's favorite thing to do.
Man, I didn't look at the schedule prior to my prediction in our meeting, and then I got to look at the schedule. I'm sitting
Okay, I
there
have them at 10 wins. No?
Fair.
No, they're going to beat the Colts. They're going to beat New England. They're going to lose to Buffalo. They're going to lose to the Jets. They're going to beat Carolina. They're going to lose to the Chargers.
Damn.
They're going to beat Cleveland. They're going to lose in Atlanta. They're going to lose to Baltimore, lose to Buffalo, lose to Washington,
Damn.
beat New Orleans, lose to the Jets, lose to Pittsburgh, lose to Cincinnati, lose to Tampa Bay, lose to
They're
New
winning
England.
6 games.
And the coach is going to get fired.
They're not winning 6 games, Keith. That's crazy.
No, it's not.
What do you mean? They're not splitting
6,
with
7,
anyone in the
8.
division?
Do I need to go down this list again?
Key, you don't believe it?
Keith.
Nah, he don't believe that.
Come on.
believe it.
So hold on, though. But
So
see,
they're
think
healthy,
about this, though.
right? Like when we do these predictions,
They're healthy.
We
100%
predict a healthy roster, healthy
100%.
Tua, healthy Tyreek, and they're
100%.
winning 6 games.
Yeah. Because Buffalo going to double Tyreek. They're going to play zone, so he's
Jalen
out
Waddle.
there. He frustrated already.
Jalen Waddle.
But the good thing about it, they go to Buffalo earlier in the year. So they could steal that one because it won't be cold. They could, but I don't have them doing that.
The weather don't matter.
Okay, well,
We ain't gonna do that.
Hold on.
You ain't gonna do the weather.
Hold on, Terron. It does matter.
It does.
It does not.
It does
It's
matter.
not.
Hey, don't y'all like to say facts?
I just had this conversation with Rich Eisen.
But I ain't Rich Eisen, so
That's a fact.
You know.
But I don't have a problem repeating my statement.
okay.
We had a narrative. We can't win in the cold.
Can't.
We can't beat good teams.
You can't.
The reality is we played good teams in the cold. So it has nothing to do with the cold. We haven't been able to beat good teams. Buffalo in Buffalo, Baltimore in Baltimore, Philly in Philly. That's been the losses.
Oh, because y'all beat Baltimore at home when y'all came back from the 5 touchdowns.
I mean, that was an anomaly of a game. That's a historic day.
That was it. I'm saying y'all beat them though.
It was cold
at
that day.
home. No, it was at home, wasn't it? It was at y'all
No, it
place.
was in Baltimore.
Was it Baltimore when y'all came back with them 5 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Was it 4 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But for the most part,
It's been the good teams, and that's the difference. Whether the Dolphins get into the playoffs or not, beating these good teams, these playoff teams from last year, which I strongly feel with Tua under center can get the job done.
well, I originally said if he's healthy, I've seen y'all with him and without him, and I
Right.
favor y'all to win with him. But as I
don't
look
look
at
like
this,
it.
but as I look at the schedule though, and after the Carolina, man, I mean Cleveland, I don't even know what that is. But then y'all get in Atlanta and Buffalo and
You don't even believe in Atlanta.
Baltimore.
At all.
Paul,
No, I don't.
do you think the Dolphins are a playoff team?
I do. I figured, look, they won,
6 games.
8 games last year, 6 without Tua. Adding Tua today can get them a couple more games. I don't see what Keith, I don't got them losing the last 6 games like Keith. And then in the first
crazy.
9, I think they can go 6-3.
I think the Jets gonna be better than what people think.
That's going to be good.
I think Pittsburgh gonna be better. Cincinnati, we know what that is. Tampa, we know what that is.
What's Cincinnati?
Yeah, what is Cincinnati?
And Cincinnati,
What's Pittsburgh?
Cincinnati just got to shore up their defense. Offensively, you can't slow them down. Joe Burrow threw for 9,000 yards last year.
Also, Washington is in Spain, right?
Oh, it is?
Madrid.
Yeah.
That might be a coin toss then.
Yeah. I think they're in contention. I think that the AFC is really deep. I think they're in contention, but they got to get a first-round bye, or at least win the division. They do. The Dolphins are 1-6 in games under 50 degrees since 2022, and 0-5 in games under 40 degrees.
Dog. I've been in the cold weather, can't win if the temperatures are 50 or below.
The weather don't.
But they're also okay. Well, would you agree with this then? Would you agree with this? To me, the Dolphins are built on their particular. I understand they had injuries last year defensively, but they're a speed, finesse, timing offense.
I got to take the finesse word out of it.
So you
It's
think
speed.
they're a physical offense?
I think it's a physical offense.
No,
Run the
you
ball
were
efficiently.
physical.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Taking
You
you
ain't
out
there
of
no
it.
more.
Taking you out of it.
Man, this me you talking to,
out of
man.
it, yeah.
I'm right next to you.
You
were
one of the
physical.
ones with the beard and the,
Yeah,
and the
see,
truck
look,
with the
You know
this
your
one,
offensive
with the
lineman.
beard.
You see what he got? He got the beard.
and the truck.
What that mean? Keith?
That means you gonna do something to somebody. That's what it means. Yeah, that's what
That
it
means
means.
we're watching how we speak to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but everyone else,
Yeah.
you think they're a physical offense.
I do. Run game, we are a run-first team. You see the speed on the outside, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane. We do have the speed.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue to have that label because of those players. But it's a very physical style of football that the Dolphins play in the run game.
They run into the left and they run into the right. They sprinting to the left and sprinting to the right. They not running in between the guards. They running on the perimeter. That's not physicality. Physicality. All right, listen, we're gonna sit down and watch some tape. so I can really show you how we was doing some things to people. You were doing some things to people.
Collectively. across the
I understand
board,
it's
we
your
doing some
team
things.
and your guys. I get it. But when I'm watching the games and I'm looking at it, and like Joey said, I don't want to call it finesse because I don't think anybody that plays in the National Football League is finesse
Why
because
is that an insult?
because it's football. We don't like that.
They got a bad stigma to
Yeah,
it.
we don't like finesse and soft and all that. We don't like that.
Now finesse is soft. First of all, I did
That's
not
the
call
way-
the Dolphins soft. All
No,
right?
I understand. I'm not-
I did not say that. Stop throwing words out. All right, I'm barely surviving the internet this week as it is. I said Dolphins are fast, finesse team.
Okay, so
Offensively.
So the offense is the same, pretty much the same offense as San Francisco. Same
Yeah,
offense
yeah.
for the most part, right?
Yeah.
90% of it. But we don't consider the San Francisco 49ers a finesse football team. We consider them a physical football team.
We might this year.
I don't know.
Think of the pieces that they lost.
You don't
understand.
consider them a speed team either.
But the reason we don't consider them a speed team
They don't
is
have
because
Tyreek
they don't
and
have
Jaylen Waddle.
Tyreek and Jaylen Waddle.
Right.
Y'all got Jaylen Waddle and Tyreek, and then y'all had
Achane.
Achane and all them. So that was speed.
Yeah.
So that narrative is going to stick with the Dolphins until they get rid of and get some bigger receivers on the perimeter that's coming down, blocking safeties and doing those sort of things. I'm just looking at the schedule, man. I
mean, you've got George Kittle, you've got Debo. Like those are players that are different than what the Dolphins have. Like that's part, and Kittle's still there obviously, but Debo's not there. Like what San Francisco runs and what they've been, their identity over the past couple years may not be what they are this year.
maybe they still got that left tackle.
And you would agree that Tua is a timing,
They still got that left. He got a beard too. Yeah, so
Terron has made comparisons of Tua and Drew Brees, and you double down on it this week on Good Morning Football. Do you think that's a good comparison, Key, Tua and Drew Brees?
I do. You know, not just because they're both smaller quarterbacks, but I think their anticipation.
Yep.
They both, their arms aren't well, Drew Brees' arm wasn't strong. He threw with anticipation. Same thing with Tua. Tua's a very anticipative thrower of the football, except that throw right there, which I can
Why do we keep throwing that?
jump in the damn camera
me
on
that
it.
one.
Because he's throwing it behind the dude and late. It
But
just
why
drives
is
me.
that the highlight that we're showing?
I didn't pull the highlight. I didn't pull it. It just makes it.
We
just,
have to have more
Can we stop
tape.
running that play, please?
It makes me mad watching it because I know he could do better. But I do believe that he has a lot of the same traits as a Drew Brees. And you was in the huddle with him. I've never been in the huddle with him. I don't know how to ask you this. I guess I'll just ask you like I would say. Is he smart at the quarterback position?
For sure.
Like, can he process the information?
Yeah.
Can he then spit it out to you guys, dissect the coverages from the front to the back end in a heartbeat like that?
He can.
Then if he could do all of those things, then yeah, it's very Drew Breesy. And yeah.
He can. He can. Tua is highly intelligent. Like you spoke on the anticipation.
Yeah.
His precision, his accuracy, the command he's starting to get. Like Drew didn't come out the gate as the final product that we saw of Drew Brees, the Hall of Famer. Yeah. Drew had his growing pains the same way. I'm not saying that they're the same player. Tua would never be Drew Brees. He's not trying to be. He's trying to be Tua, the best version of Tua. Highly intelligent. As he continues to grow and get more command of the offense, I think the separating factor to take Tua from really good to great is the late game situations. Situational football, that's the separator. That's the thing. That's the reason why Patrick Mahomes has been to 5 Super Bowls. Those guys win one score games repeatedly, consistently. that's why the Chiefs continue to go to the Super Bowl.
See, and I also think, though, when you talk about the two in the difference, and I tell them all the time, there's a difference in understanding the running game and the passing game as a coach. I don't know if McDaniel really understands the passing game as much as he does the running game. Like, he was the run game coordinator in San Francisco. He was around the Shanahans as a run game technician, where Drew Brees had Sean Payton. Mm-hmm. And Sean Payton is a passing, I had him as an offensive coordinator, so he knows all the passing game stuff. I don't know if that's the case down in Miami when I'm just watching some of the concepts and some of the things that they do.
Well, Terron spent the first 9 years of his career with the Saints, and 5 of those years, Aaron Glenn was a defensive backs coach in New Orleans. He's now the head coach of the New York Jets, and Glenn has been getting praise from his new players. Brees Hall said Glenn tells players what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. Hall also said that the Jets are in a win-now situation and not a rebuild.
AG still look like he can backpedal.
Yeah. You still got it, man.
Paul, are you confident that Aaron Glenn can turn the Jets around?
Yeah, I'm confident. I mean, I just, when I hear him in his interviews and I see what type of personality he's going to bring to the Jets, culture building, he's going to inspire confidence in the young guys. And maybe they might not turn around this season, which possibly they can because they got some young talent over there. He's a coach that's going to demand success. And he's a culture builder. And that's what the Jets need. They haven't had a culture in so long. They haven't been in the playoffs in what, since 2012?
2010.
2010?
It's been a minute.
It's 15 years. So he's going to get them back on the right track. He's going to get their mind right. He's going to have them with the right attitude. And the good thing is he has a young core to develop into that.
Could you tell when he was with you in New Orleans he was going to be a head coach?
For sure. Him and Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that they spent so much time together in Detroit, like you said, culture changer, they're bringing that. They're bringing that mindset. They're bringing that intensity. I really think he's going to do amazing things in New York. They got a lot of young talent for sure. Got to shore up the quarterback position. Justin Fields, he get a chance to run the show. But I love everything that AG brings. I'm rooting for him for sure. I hope they lose 2 games to the Dolphins.
Let me see. What did I do? Let me see. Yeah.
So do you think the Jets will be better?
I got him beating the Dolphins twice.
I do. I got a lot of faith in AG. A lot of faith in him. And you see what they built in Detroit. I think their first season, they 2 wins, 3 wins. And then all the way this year, they was the number 1 seed throughout the entire season. It takes time to build a culture. I think at the starting point, his floor is different with the Jets than when they got to Detroit. A lot of talent there. Mm-hmm. A lot of talent. The defense is stout, is stellar. I think they can win this year.
What to you is the key piece in starting to build a culture with the team?
You got to get the buy-in from your best players. You get the buy-in from your best players, and from the head man, he's holding everybody accountable to the same standard. Nobody's getting any type of favoritism. Nobody's getting a chance, an opportunity to slack or do things that another guy can't do or rookie can't do. But you get your best players to buy in, and they start preaching the same message. It builds a mantra. It builds an identity, and that's how the culture starts to change.
Yeah, I can't wait.
No, got your Jets green on right now.
Yeah, I can't wait though. That's my guy. I played with AG a couple places, but
you played with this dude right here.
Which dude?
Right here.
Oh yeah, he was
with all the gray.
Yeah, he was
the gray hair. Y'all played together.
Dog.
No, I'm just saying.
He's trying to say that you have the gray hair.
No, I got a little bit.
No, but I'm saying y'all
got mine up.
You played with him. You played with him, right?
I got a little bit.
Yeah, but he coached. See, he coached, so the stress has got him great. He's coaching. That's the difference now. It ain't got nothing to do with the age. I know what you're trying to say. I'm just going to ignore it. But
he's walking you into it.
But at the end, I think you're right about the culture building. It starts at the top. And it reminds me a lot of, just because I know Sean, and when Sean went to New Orleans as a head coach, a couple years later, they was in the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl. Yep. But he had that was just a low situation. Then they had the whole hurricane situation come to town, and he had to keep everybody rocking together, and they got through that. They go on, they win the Super Bowl. And that's kind of the similar thing with Aaron Glenn, being in and around Bill Parcells, Sean Payton, Dan Campbell, all from the same tree. Understanding Bill Belichick, just understanding those sort of things. You take those same traits to New York and get those players to follow, like Brees Hall said, to really understand. You don't want coaches. You know how coaches are, man. They look you in the face and tell you what you want to hear. And then sit up and just reel in the back, and the next thing you know, they looking to replace you. That's what they do. But you're not going to get that from genuine coaching like AG. That's just not something he's going to do. He's going to tell you exactly what it is. He don't care who you are, how much money you making. He could care less. Just think about the way the exit went for Aaron Rodgers. He don't care that Aaron Rodgers is a future Hall of Famer. Not at all. He wants somebody in the locker room that everybody can rock with and respect. And it wasn't the case for AG and Aaron Rodgers, so he said, peace, see you later.
Was that how Doc was when he came in?
Yeah, Doc, me and Doc was into it when he first came in.
Yeah?
We didn't see eye to eye.
Because you shot the ball. You was a hot dog, man.
No, it's a couple times. Look, so like one game,
Not playing within the system.
he talking to the young fellas. You know, he talked to me. I'm already established vet, all-star. And he said something foul to me. And I said, you ain't about to be talking to me like that. And I walked off the court, right? So we didn't have our then. He had a timeout. He was like, Paul, you need to pass the ball. And I was like, well, trade me then. I threw the clipboard. I was like, well, trade me then.
And he talking, hey, look, enjoy.
Pass the ball.
Man, it was something, dog, because I was already frustrated. We losing. I'm like, no, well, trade me then. I'm off this.
And you always talking about my behavior.
Nah, it was.
That's ridiculous.
Can we find that clip, guys?
It's not wilding
I
out.
don't think this was in the
Oh, so you know
timeout.
he was wild.
Yeah, he was.
What makes you think I was wilding? Please.
I've watched you.
You have a book. You have
That
a
was
book
not
about your
wilding
behavior.
out. I wanted to win, and I wanted to win a championship, and I wasn't settling for anything less. That's not wilding out. That's trying to motivate and get the people to do the right thing. You're not doing the right thing if you're not getting me the football. That's number one.
I thought you was gonna be the football version of Spreewell. Spreewell.
Stop, man.
What he did to a coach, I thought you was next when I used to watch you.
Paul, if you don't
I
stop.
was like,
Oh, for
damn.
real.
No, they love
trade me
running.
then.
They love running this
Yeah,
clip. Oh, I done used that one too. Trade me.
man.
Yeah, trade me. I bet you won't trade me. I done used that one for
You
sure.
trademarked it. That was you.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's sort of kind of, you know. Look, man, I'm going to live it. It's mine. I'm good with it.
Terron, before you go, we talked last time you were on, but you weren't in studio with us. So Paul is very confident that he can get by anyone. That he can get
Right by you, right there. Look, hold on, look at the footwork though. I got the footwork.
You're going to hurt something, man.
No, show him, go run it back. Show him the footwork.
I saw.
Yeah. I'm out. Oh, right around you. I can't get to the quarterback like that.
The feet are so heavy. The steps are
The
so...
first thing he does is raise up.
He popped straight up.
He don't even bend the hula hoop.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, that's
You gotta bend the hula hoop, man.
No, that slap right there with a guy.
The slam.
Got
What the hell are you talking about?
You want to try it out?
No, go out
No,
there.
I'm better now. I'm better now. No, I'm cool now.
No,
No, look, because now I'm getting low now. So now I'm right here now. I'm doing my
Stance alone, though. Look at
Gotta
this
stay
thing.
low. Oh, see, pop.
Yeah. Oh, that was it. That was it right there.
Not encouraging.
We got a new one. y'all.
You want to encourage this behavior.
We got a new one, y'all. Hey, I'm in better shape now, see?
Man, stop.
Who's your stiffest competition?
Anyway.
Stiffest competition you had?
Probably throughout my career, Myles Garrett. We've had some battles. Robert Quinn, he would be another one. Yeah, probably Myles.
Myles
we
Garrett.
had a few dance recitals.
Was he like? I mean, you're a big dude, and I'm sure you slimmed down a little bit since your playing days.
A little bit.
Was it
30
when you
pounds or so.
stood across from him? though? Did he look crazy, like a big old just?
He probably got 0.5% body fat. He's
0.5?
I don't know if that's accurate, but
He probably
Look
probably
that way.
slimmy. Yeah, he looked like it.
probably just this. Like that's it. No other fat.
Yeah, none.
Little cheek.
Right.
That's it.
That's how Alonzo Spellman used to be.
He's crazy.
Alonzo Spellman looked like that, just big old, just crazy coming around the edge. I ran from him. I cracked him. I cracked Alonzo Spellman one game, and I came in motion, bam, hit him, and he looked around, and I knew right then and
He was
there
looking for you.
he was looking for me.
Yeah.
So I just went to the sideline. He came to our sideline. If you do that again, I'm gonna snap you in half like a pretzel. And he had one of them, full beard, and his head was shaved though. He had a bald head with the full beard. It's like, man, don't let him get to me, because if he'd have got to me, Paul, he'd have crushed me, for sure.
So you was scared, like legit.
Legit, because he had some other stuff going on upstairs. Just didn't know. No, Paul, grow up. Grow up, Paul. We're talking sports.
Thanks for joining
No, thank you.
Really
Don't pay attention to Paul.
Yeah,
Paul got to grow up, man.
Coming up, Shai is the MVP and OKC are the champs, but has SGA already passed KD as the greatest Thunder player ever? We'll tell you that next on Speak. Order.
If he had got to me.
Tyrese Halliburton left Game 7 with a torn Achilles. On Monday, Tyrese posted on social media after his surgery, quote, "Indy, I'm sorry. If any fan base doesn't deserve this, it's y'all. But together we're going to fight like hell to get back to this very spot and get over this hurdle. I think Kobe said it best when in this same situation. There are far greater issues and challenges in the world than a torn Achilles. Stop feeling sorry for yourself and find the silver lining and get to work with the same belief, same drive, and same conviction as ever." And that's exactly right. I will do everything in my power to get back right. Paul, what do you make of Tyrese's mindset?
You got to have that type of mindset. Although I've never been through an injury quite like this, where it was long-term, where it'll be season ending for the next year, I can't imagine the mindset you got to have, because it's a process. And I've never been through a long-term process of injury. I've never had surgery throughout my career. You know, the worst thing that's ever happened to me was a couple broken bones, one in my hand, one in my foot. And it's frustrating. And you know it's a process, but you got to continue to do the work. And I hope he keeps that mindset throughout it, because it's going to be a long road ahead. And hopefully he can get back to where he was playing the brand of basketball to help Indiana get to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, the surgery obviously is, nobody wants to have to go through surgery, but it's really the rehab and the road back that is the tough part of any of these injuries. It's the time, it's starting to trust your body again, it's the pain of rehab can be excruciating. It's the mental part of it. You got to eat well the entire time because you're not doing the same kind of cardio that you were doing before. Like, it's such a process to come back from these injuries. So the mental part of it is really the exhausting part. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander brought the Thunder their first ever NBA championship and grabbed the regular season Western Conference Finals and Finals MVP along the way. Kevin Durant also won a regular season MVP for the Thunder in 2014, but was never able to win a title. So, Paul, did SGA pass KD as the best Thunder player ever?
Man, KD had a great career, a 9-year career with the Thunder, put up crazy numbers. But yes, once you won the championship and got the Finals MVP, he's eclipsed KD as far as a Thunder great. Now, as an all-time great, he's not there over the KD yet, and he still has a long way to go. But as a Thunder, if he were to retire today, he will be the greatest Thunder. They would build a statue of him. He would have ushered in a new era and a pioneer of their banner that no one has ever seen in Oklahoma City. So shout out to SGA. You brought some culture to a city that needed it. You brought some winning to a city that was desperate for it. And you brought a foundation that can live forever.
Yeah, I echo a lot of what Paul is saying. You think about his time in OKC and Durant's time at OKC. One of those years, even though it's supersonic, so you credit it to OKC, he had 8 versus 9. One was up in Seattle. His 6, he's done more in that time frame of 6 than KD has personally for the organization, because he won the championship. And in the championship, OKC went, but they didn't win. And we're just talking about in a short, just in the short term. Long term, we talking about the career. Long term, he can't touch KD because KD's obviously been playing longer than. But just for OKC, by far, he's the greatest Thunder because of the championship. Like, it just, if Westbrook had won a championship when KD had left and he had won, then I would probably say it would be Westbrook based on everything he did in the uniform at OKC. But if that's not the case, it is Shai for sure.
Well, he's the face of the league now, so of course he's the greatest Thunder ever. Of course. It goes without saying. This is a tough one because I covered that team closely when they made the transition from Seattle to Oklahoma City, and I know how hard it was because it was in the middle of the night, essentially. It felt like that they went from Seattle to OKC, and this was a really young team. you're talking about a 20-year-old Kevin Durant. And you turn around, and the next thing you know, he's won 4 scoring titles. He's taken him to the playoffs 6 times. He turned this franchise that was lost when it got there and made it into one of the more revered franchises. But all that said, what SGA did this year, you can see it in the crowd and the way everybody's responded. And it's not just the stats, it's not just the MVP, it's the fact that he took the leadership of this team. And KD always at best shared that with Russ and didn't really want all the responsibility that comes with that. And I give Shai Gilgeous-Alexander great credit because as young as he is, he's essentially said, I'll be the leader of this team. I'll answer all the tough questions. I'll address when things are going tough. I'm going to get us there. And so having taken that responsibility and then winning it all, I'd turn to the people. The people who are going to answer this are really the people in Oklahoma City. And based on their response to what SGA did and how how I know they feel about the way KD left, there's people in Oklahoma City would tell you that Russ Westbrook that this shouldn't be a question about KD, that they felt like it should be Westbrook was the greatest because
that's kind of why I slid it in there.
Because he stood his ground when KD decided to dip. So, but in any case, I think you put SGA at the top.
Yeah. We don't have enough time to get in.
I did. I opened that can.
Of that. That was a big can to open before we got to get to break. Kevin Durant is a better all-time player, obviously. I think that SGA has made a bigger impact on the Thunder because they won the championship. If you even compare their first 6 seasons, Durant would have had a better career with OKC minus the championship. But the championship is what you play for. So that's where they are. We'll revisit the Westbrook thing another time. Coming up, will Jayden Daniels get the Commanders past the Eagles in year 2? That's next on Speed. The Commanders finished second in the NFC East with 12 wins, just 2 games behind the Eagles. Commanders quarterback Jayden Daniels said he's looking forward to getting the ball to his newest weapon, Deebo Samuel, on a screen or slant and watching him take it 80 yards to the end zone. The Eagles are favored to win the division again this season, but there has not been a repeat winner in the NFC East since the Eagles from 2001 to 2004.
Ooh, see?
So, Key, will the Commanders take the NFC East from the Eagles this year?
They can, but I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, they got a good team, but the Eagles got a really good team, and they bouncing back on something, and they feel like they want to repeat that performance from last year, get back to that Super Bowl. They can, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't see where the Eagles are going to fall off. I see them getting stronger.
Paul?
I certainly believe that the Commanders will take it. Based on, Joy, you said there hasn't been a repeat champion in the division in over 20 years. So I'm going to go on and continue with that tradition of this and say that the Washington Commanders, a hungry Washington Commanders who beat the Philadelphia Eagles during the regular season, lost to them in the playoffs, but I see a hungry Jayden McDaniels. He's going to be my pick for MVP. In saying that, he's going to have to win the division. I'm looking for a big year. They made the adjustments. They got better offensively. They got better defensively. You got a quarterback in his second year who's going to be in the MVP race. He was in the MVP race as a rookie. I'm looking at championship hangover for Philly. And we haven't had a repeat champion, NFL champion, since the Chiefs. And that's something that rarely happens. So I just don't see it happening again for the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Eagles are still going to make the playoffs and be a really good team this year. But there's a reason why the NFC East has not had a repeat champion in that long. I do think that the Commanders, who were right there last year, will continue to get better this year. And they've kept their coaching staff in place.
Yeah, that's a big plus, to keeping the coaching staff in place.
So generally, if you're losing, particularly at a position like the quarterback position where you're losing an offensive coordinator and they're keeping all of that the same. They've added Debo. I think he's going to take a step up this year. I think he's a great pick for MVP this year, for the regular season MVP. And I think they will end up winning the division. I don't think it'll be a big separator. I think it'll come down to the wire for who will win the division. But I'm picking the Commanders.
Look at the Philadelphia schedule, too.
Not picking. I got it right here. Oh, you said Philly? Which one?
Philly's schedule.
Let me see if I got Philly. Well,
They got a brutal first 5 games. Look at their first 5 games. Brutal.
They got Dallas, which they'll do whatever.
Dallas
they do.
at Kansas City.
They got to go to Kansas City, the Rams.
At Tampa.
First
Tough
5
fight.
games.
Yeah, those
Broncos.
five is tough. 5 out of 6 is tough too. Because they got Minnesota at Minnesota.
Well,
I
we're
mean,
not quite sure what Minnesota's going to be.
Yeah, I
this
don't know
year,
what they're going to
but-
be at the quarterback spot. I'm not saying they can't. I'm sticking with the Super Bowl champion. I'm not saying that the Commanders won't clip them. I'm just sticking with the Super Bowl champs. That's all.
Well, coming up, LeBron is already back in the lab working. We'll see how high Keyshawn is on his Lakers right now. That's
Let's
next
go
on Speed.
Lakers!
Working on that bag.
It's time to check in on our social life. LeBron is already back in the lab preparing for season 23 in the NBA. The Lakers have the 6th best odds to win the finals in 2026 after getting bounced in the first round this year. So, Key, how excited are you for LeBron and Luka in year 2 of the Lake Show?
Where's that at, Paul? You know?
Yeah, it looked like the Summit in New York.
I thought that was New York. I think it's a situation, Joy, where I call it the rocking chair year. Just let him play basketball, fill it up, score 40 a game, and then
40.
deuces, whatever, 29, whatever it's gonna be, deuces. Thank you for your services. Because I don't think the Lakers are going anywhere. I honestly feel that way. As much as I love the Lakers in the purple and gold, I don't think this is our year. I just don't. I don't think we have enough.
They
I don't
can
think we
make
can get enough.
a splash in the trade market. They'll have a chance because as long as you got Luka, a top 5 player,
Yeah, you have a.
and your second best player is LeBron.
But we ain't gonna be able to
You
make
need
that
it.
splash.
Yeah, you need another piece though.
We not gonna be. Where we gonna get? Why would somebody give us a piece and we don't have nothing to give you in return?
Somebody gave you Luka.
Yeah, you got Luka.
Yeah, but we had a piece in Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
We don't have any more Anthony Davises to give anybody.
I agree, there's no more Anthony.
Right.
Could use Anthony Davis back. The Celtics reportedly traded Jrue Holiday away to the Blazers for Anthony Simons and 2 second-round draft picks. Holiday spent just the last 2 seasons in Boston and helped the Celtics win their first title since Paul, KG, and Ray Allen won in 2008. So, Paul, what will the Celtics miss most about Jrue Holiday?
What they're going to miss most is his leadership, but his defensive presence out there. He was a leader on defense and clutch ability on the defensive end. If y'all remember that clutch play he made versus Indiana, to where the game was on the line and he got the steal. You know, plays like that, intangibles that he brings to the court. You know, those little things, high IQ basketball, respected guy in the locker room amongst a great culture. You know, those are a number of things that those numbers, it don't add up with numbers. It's just a feel for the game. It's a respect. It's the locker room. It's the plane rides. It's a camaraderie that he brings and a leadership aspect and a winning attitude. So they're going to miss those things. Hopefully, you know, they can find that in other players who can step up in that role and continue to thrive. You know, I don't know if they'll be a championship contender next year without Tatum and without Jrue. But having him in that locker room, I know would have competed night in and night out no matter who was out there, and they're going to lose that.
Yeah, they lose that, but they also lose a defensive backcourt. You still got White, obviously, but Jrue was an important piece, and Paul just mentioned it about the steal against Indiana. You know, you miss guys like this that bring a certain to the table, whether it's the veteran leadership in the locker room, the non-panic on the floor when things aren't going right. You don't see panic in somebody like Jrue's eyes. So they're going to miss all that more. Now, that doesn't mean that Derek White won't step up or Brown won't all of a sudden step up. I don't feel like the Celtics are through yet, though. I feel like they still might look to do something else. Maybe there's Porzingis moving in the situation. You just never know.
I mean, yeah, the leadership and defense is what they're going to miss. And those are hard things to replace. but they do have a great culture and they have a lot of veterans and they are champions. So I think from a leadership perspective, they may be able to make up for it. The defense, I don't know so much. Jrue is a really good all-around player. He's not your one, but having him on the floor makes a big difference. He's a very intelligent player. He's an experienced player. I mean, he's someone, when they acquired him, everyone was kind of like, oh, well, they're going to win now. That's what he brings to the table when he's with a team like that. So I think that that's going to be really tough to replace. But I also believe that the Celtics are in kind of a, they're in a tough position from the business perspective. Are you going to spend, $500 million on your roster? You don't have your number one player in Jason Tatum for what is expected to be the entirety of next year. So they've got to make some decisions to be prepared for when he's available and back to then start competing again. So they almost had to make this move because of what Jrue costs and what, as he would age over the next 2 years without Jason Tatum there. Coming up, will Baker and the Bucs make a deep playoff run this season? That is next on Speak. Baker Mayfield has established himself as QB1 in Tampa Bay, and he has the full support of the Bucs organization. GM Jason Light said he and head coach Todd Bowles agree that Baker is, quote, a pretty damn good quarterback. Bucs wide receiver Mike Evans says this is the best wide receiver room he's seen with the Bucs. So, Key, can Baker lead Tampa beyond winning the NFC East?
I think they can win a game.
NFC South.
South. I think they can win a game. I think they can win one playoff game, but I don't think ultimately he can lead them to the Super Bowl. I don't think they're a Super Bowl-ready team. I think they're a playoff team in a bad division. I think they're a 10-win team that can win that division. Now, I don't know what Atlanta is. I mean, everybody got high hopes for Carolina because Bryce Young started to play decent in the last couple games, so people got feel good about that situation. In New Orleans, I don't know what that is. This is a two-horse race between Atlanta and Tampa Bay, and I think right now, based on Baker's status, that they'll win the division, but I don't see beyond that. They get a game at home and they win it, and that's it.
I mean, I'm trying to look at the NFC outside of Philadelphia. Who can't they beat? Like, who they just necessarily can't beat? I mean, Washington's going to be pretty good. But then outside of that, Tampa Bay, who just
San Francisco.
They can beat San Francisco.
I don't know.
Like, we don't know. We don't know who San Francisco's going to be this year.
I don't know.
San Francisco didn't make the playoffs last year. Listen, he's only going to get more comfortable in this offense.
It was banged up, though.
He's only going to get more comfortable. You see what he did numbers-wise. We already know one of the top passers.
Yeah, but Liam Cohen is gone now. He's the head coach of Jacksonville, which was his offensive coordinator, who's not there. So he's learning another system for the third year in a row. Because the first head coach is offensive coordinator is in Carolina.
Yeah.
Now this one's in Jacksonville.
I mean, I think I'm just not sure who's going to win the NFC South. I don't know that I'm just signing off that they're going to win it.
And that's fair.
I think the Saints are out of it this year.
And Carolina.
I don't know.
See, high hopes for 2 games.
I think they'll be better. And I don't know what Atlanta's going to be.
But
I think the division will be tougher than it has been.
Yeah, it might. Okay, so Carolina wins 7 games. Yay.
I think the division will be tougher than it has been. I don't necessarily say that I'm not sure that I'm 100% giving it to Tampa yet. Beyond that, we'll have to see. I mean, I think the NFC is actually very deep, and some of the teams that surprised us got better this year. So, you have Washington, you have Philly, you have the Rams, you have Detroit still, with the Packers, I think the Bears will be better. There is a lot of competition out there, so we'll see how far they can go in the playoffs. Coming up, NBA draft is tomorrow, and we have some breaking news. We'll tell you that next on Speak.
Whoa, what's going on? Breaking news?
We've got some breaking news in the NBA. The Celtics reportedly agreed to move Jrue Holiday yesterday, and today they reportedly agreed to a deal sending Kristaps Porzingis to the Hawks for George Niang and a second pick as part of a 3-team trade. So, Paul, lots of moves for the Celtics. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, it's kind of sad in the way that we're breaking up a championship team, but, we're having a minor setback for a major comeback.
Ooh, okay.
You know that. You know that. So I'm going to look at this year as we just trimming some of the fat from payroll, lining up for the following year when Tatum gets healthy.
some of the fat. Yo, minor comeback. Whoa, okay.
A setback for a comeback.
Setback for a comeback.
We'll discuss that more tomorrow. That's it for us.